Welcome to this seminar on staircases and how you can use the staircasing method in Testable. And we think it's pretty easy to do. So I don't think the seminar is gonna take half an hour to demonstrate that, because it's so easy to implement in Testable. First, a few words about the staircase procedure, this classic psychophysical method to get to a threshold, a participant threshold, with respect to their sensitivity to a stimulus. So this is what a staircase looks like in psychophysics. You usually start with a stimulus of high intensity, so an easy trial, an easy task, and then you move down, meaning you move towards more difficult trials. So you reduce the intensity of a stimulus, for example. So you go to more and more difficult trials if you respond correct to these trials, until you reach a level where the response turns into incorrect because you cannot do the task anymore. Then a so-called reversals takes place, meaning instead of going down, now we start to go up, so towards easier and easier trials. These are incorrect responses, so again we go one level up, incorrect response, one more level up. Here we start to provide again correct responses, so we can do the task again. We do it once, we do it twice, and that's the rule that you can vary. Obviously, if you do it a number of times correctly, then you start going down again on the staircase. So that's another reversal here. And then we go one level down, we do it correct, we go one more level down, and again now it becomes too difficult and we start to move up. So by varying the difficulty of the task, and by placing a participant around these levels, just around the levels where he can do or cannot do the task, we can find his or her sensitivity threshold. Okay, so how can you implement this adaptive method in Testable? We have a special column for that, which is called staircase. And you have to explicitly declare all the possible trials in a staircase. So in this case, we have 10 different levels, starting from the easiest one, going towards the most difficult one. So level 10 here is the most difficult one. And we mark them with a label, in this case A. That means they all belong to staircase A. And then we specify the rules of the staircase procedure A. In this case, and the order doesn't matter, so we can have any order for these parameters here. But we need to specify some of that. Whatever is not specified takes the default value, and we can talk about the default values as well. But we need to specify the ending rule. So in this case, we're going to end the staircase, meaning we consider that we have found the sensitivity threshold when we reach 3 reversals. We can define the starting point. So maybe we don't want to start with the easiest level, but we want to start somewhere in the middle. So in this case, I say, okay, yeah, start at trial number 5. Then we define how many steps we should go up when there is an incorrect response. So how many levels backwards in terms of difficulty we should go. So that's 2. How many levels down we should go when participant responds correctly. So by how many steps we should increase the difficulty. So in this case is 1. Then what's the rule for going down in levels? That's 2 correct responses in a row. And what's the rule for going up in the levels? So that's 1 incorrect response. You can also have another ending rule, which is trials 100, let's say. So in this case, if you haven't reached reversals 3 yet, but you reached 100 trials spent within this staircase, then the procedure is going to end anyway. Okay, so you can have more than 1 ending rule. Whichever rule is reached first, that's the one that's going to end the staircase. So let's see how this one looks like. So remember, staircase, 10 different levels, from the easiest to the most difficult. We start at 5. If we have 2 correct responses in a row, we go down 1 level. if we have one incorrect response, we go up 2 levels, okay? And the correct response in all the trials is 1. That's for illustration purposes. And we can answer 1 or 0. So 1 is correct, 0 is incorrect in this case. Most of the times the staircases, or originally the staircases, were used in psychophysics experiments, trying to determine sensitivity to contrast thresholds and so on. But you can easily extend that to other things or higher level cognition. I'm using that quite often for face perception, for example, face recognition. So I'm varying the difficulty of recognizing people, or difficulty to distinguish whether there is a change in identity from one picture to the other. So you can use this staircase procedure for many, many different things. But let's see how it works. So I'm saving this. And I go to this experiment, which is already created. I drag it here. And then I access the experiment. If you have any questions, you can use the questions and answer sections in the Zoom webinar. I will see your questions and I will try to answer them live. Okay, that's the first trial, staircase. Now we enter the staircase at level 5, remember? Let's say that I press 1. I'm still going to see level 5. If I press 1 again, then I'm moving down 1 level, so towards the more difficult levels. So level 6. I need to answer correctly twice, and then I move down again. Okay, that's the second. What happens now if I press incorrect? I go up 2 levels. So I go back to level 5. And now I go to level 3. If I press incorrect, I go to level 1 again. And then let's go again, down. I think we had 2 reversals so far. So let's go for another reversal. Okay, and there's a third reversal and the experiment finished. We exited the staircase. Okay, so that's pretty much it for the staircases. But that's not all. You can combine different staircases. So let's say that I want to present to participants not one staircase, but 30 different staircases, and I want to randomly take the participants through all these different staircases so that they don't even realize that they are in a staircase procedure. So I'm varying all the time the next trial, whether the next trial comes from staircase A or B or C or D or E, whatever. So I'm randomizing that all together. So I can do that. I can have like multiple staircases going in parallel, but the participant jumps randomly between the different staircases, keeping track of the level where they are in a specific staircase. So let's replicate that, and let's say that now we have another staircase that is called B. It can be any label here. I'm just putting it B for simplicity. So I need to mark all the trials as belonging to staircase B. Note that I specify these conditions only in the first trial. That's enough. You don't need to replicate all these conditions for all the other trials. It's enough if you just write here B. So the program knows that, okay, these trials belong to staircase B, and the conditions for staircase B are defined here in the first trial. Okay, let's get rid of this maximum trials, and also let's change the word here that we see on the screen. So let's say contact 1, and then go from contrast, I meant. So contrast 1, let's say. So from contrast 1 to contrast 10. Let's delete also this one here. Okay, so now we have 2 staircases, but the program still doesn't know that I want to intertwine them. So I want the participant to jump randomly between the staircases. If I leave them like that, the program will first present staircase A to the participant, and then it's going to move, when staircase A is done, is exited, then the participant will move to staircase B. If I want to tell the program to run this in parallel at the same time, I have to specify that they belong to the same group. So let's say group 1. So I have staircase A, it belongs to group 1, and I have staircase B, and it belongs also to group 1. So in this case, Testable is going to run group 1 as a whole, even though we have 2 staircases inside, and it's going to send the participants sometimes to staircase A, sometimes to staircase B all the time, randomizing their trials. Okay, so let's see how this looks like. Oops. So if I upload this trial now, this trial file, okay. So we start with staircase B. Remember that contrast refers to staircase B. I press 1. I will press correct all the time for a while, yeah? So I press 1. The next one, I see also a trial from staircase B. I press 1 again. Again, just by random chance, just by chance, we are still in staircase B, and we moved 1 level down. Still in staircase B, but now we move to staircase A, and we start at level 5 in staircase A. Press 1. We are still in staircase A. Now we move back to staircase B, where we left, level 7, so contrast 7. Move on, also staircase B. Now I'm in level 6, because I already had 2 responses correct in staircase A, and I went 1 level down, so level 6, contrast A. Let me switch the responses and go for incorrect. So now I press incorrect. I will see the result next time when I'm in staircase B. So I was in contrast A. The next one I should see is contrast 6, going up 2 levels. I press incorrect here as well. So from level 7, I went to level 5. I'm still in staircase A. And now I switch to staircase B. I see contrast 6, back to A, and so on. So that's how it works. And obviously, depending on your responses, if you have like 10 different staircases or 30 different staircases, participants will exit the staircases at different points in time, but that's fine. So once the staircase is finished, participants will obviously only see trials from the staircases that are still ongoing. So towards the end, it's going to be only 1 staircase, right? And you're going to see the remaining trials from that staircase. That's pretty much it, all about the staircases. It's as simple as that. Just to show you some of the things that you can do with these staircases, things that are not restricted to this contrast sensitivity experiment or brightness and so on. We can use it for face perception, like I said, by having, for example, 2 different images here. Let's say image 1, or let's say phase 1 and phase 2. We would need to normally say that they are images and present them as images. So with a steam format JPEG, I don't have this stimuli saved yet. So if I run like that, I'm going to get an error. So I'm going to put word here so that we see the words on the screen, but imagine that the words are actually faces that we see, right? And then I can instruct the participants to press S for the same and D for different. So the task is, you see 2 faces, you have to say, are they the same or different? Okay. And then obviously I need to change this here to enable S and D on the keyboard, and also to define the response correct in each trial. So let's say the first 5 trials present same, and the next we can have same, different, same, different, same, different, something like that for all these trials. So the easiest trial presents two faces that are the same. Then one level down, there are two faces which are different. Then there are two faces which are the same, and so on. So you can apply staircases to that and see how sensitive the participants are to the different changes in faces, or to changes in perceived facial identity. With the same and different is not exactly the best task for a staircase. What I'm using in my experiments, I use an odd on out task. So actually I have 3 stimuli. And in this situation, 2 of the 3 faces are always the same and only 1 is different. And I'm asking the participants to detect the face that is different, the odd one out. They have to press between 1, 2, and 3 to select an answer. Okay. And then in this case, the odd one out is face 1, so it's team 1, so the correct response is 1. And then I define all the correct responses for the different trials. And I increase the difficulty of the task by varying how different these faces are. So I can have very, very similar difference, very, very similar faces, almost impossible to distinguish that they belong to different identities, or obviously different identities, and that's going to be the easiest task. So that's how you can use the staircases, and that's how you can implement staircase procedures, experiments in Testable. There isn't much else to say about this. I think it's a pretty easy way to have all kinds of staircase procedures in Testable. One question that we get asked often is whether we can generate, or whether you can generate the trials on the go, and that's not possible yet in Testable. So you have to declare all the possible trials, and you have to have images already produced and uploaded to stimuli, uploaded to the stimuli in Testable, so that they can be presented here. You cannot generate stimuli on the go for now. Probably that's going to be something that we will add later on in Testable. If there are no questions, thanks a lot for watching, and I hope to see you for the other webinars as well. Bye-bye.